having a really bad headache. Have you ever been sitting in a session and there was just no idea that popped up what to add to a track, what else to do, to add, to move the track further down? Honestly, you're not alone. Common thing I would say for creative people out there, right? It happens to me, not as much as it used to, because I found some ways to work around it, and that's what I want to share with you in this video. Ready? Let's jump in. Hey friends, Silvano here from ruffinstudio.com. So basically, I don't do those techniques intentionally, but I thought, okay, if this writer's block things happens, are there any patterns before this creative block actually happens? Is there a pattern, you know? And for me, I discovered that such things often happen when I'm not so excited anymore about an idea that I created and actually spent too much time on it and wanted to perfectionize every step or part of it, right? So my device is to have a fictional deadline and work as quickly as I can and not to over-listen a track, right? Now the funny thing is, my friend Beksu, which is a very skilled producer and I highly respect him, actually experiences the opposite, right? He said he doesn't like to have deadlines, or he actually can work better without deadlines, right? So honestly, creativity is a weird thing and there's really no right or wrong way to approach things. And honestly, I think the right way is the way that actually fits you the best, right? I mean, that sounds cheesy, but you get the idea, hopefully. So in the end, it should be fun, but oftentimes it's also a lot of problem solving, having the right mindset, and also, honestly, a lot of frustration, right? Especially if we try to write the first few tracks. Okay, so let's finally talk about some techniques that helped me to unbreak those writer's block, right? So number one is having a collection of tracks or loops that you like and try actually to recreate them, right? And I like to have sorted them into different kind of sounds, right? For example, if I like the kick of a track, I make a folder with this kick that I like, then maybe a bass line. I like Alchi's bass lines, for example, or also those longer holding notes from Vid that I showed you in another video a few weeks back. Those kinds of tracks I would put in a folder that calls bass. If I like pads or whatever, effects or whatever it is, I just put them into a folder specified to that kind of track that it is, and then I just flip through it. If I think I could need a bass or need some inspiration for a bass, I go into this folder and then I try to maybe recreate it, and most often I come up with something newer, you know. And the point is not to just recreate something one-to-one, but to spark some new inspiration for my very own tracks. Then the second technique that I like to use is actually randomize things, right? And this could be using randomized buttons on sequencers, on plugins, maybe massive plugin from Native Instruments. I guess it has a randomize function. Also Looperator has a randomize function. And yeah, just experiment with random stuff, you know, and then I record it. And also what I use often is randomizing by experimenting, right? So I would just pull up a plugin or I don't know, a preset maybe from a synthesizer, and then I would just tweaking knobs, experimenting, tweaking randomly knobs from a preset that I kind of like, and record everything again, right? And then I have maybe 4-5 minutes or even more of audio file of that recording, of that experimenting random shit, you know. And most often I found one little piece that actually inspires me, or yeah, sparks some fresh salsa from my track. And yeah, that works for me, maybe not for you, I don't know. Test it out, maybe it works. Just do pure channeling, right? Random tweaking with the mindset of, I wonder what happens if I tweak this button, right? And I don't really care if it sounds shit or good, and I just record everything, right? Then the third technique that I like to use is removing or muting stuff in the arrangement, right? So sometimes I mute just the bass line or something like kick or whatever, and then it pops up, oh, I could add here something, I don't know, effect, texture, uh, whatever it is, pad sound, maybe a weird vocal sound or whatever. And yeah, sometimes it really sparks some inspiration if I just mute some tracks or remove it, right? Also randomize. It's a lot of randomize. So the next technique that I use is very simple, but for me it's really powerful. And this is actually just having some notes ready, right? Whenever inspiration kicks in my case, that's often when I'm not in front of my computer or DAW. Yeah, I jot down just some notes with some apps, Google Docs, or just note apps from my iPhone, right? I just need to bang it quickly out because I'm sure it happened to you as well. You got an idea and 5 minutes or 10 minutes later you actually can't recall it because, I don't know, I think ideas are really something magic. I like to think about them like they would fly around in the universe, and then you catch one, and if one pops up, it's like a gift, right? And then you take it, and you need to take it and then quickly write it down, otherwise it flies away and it's gone forever. So that's how I like to think about ideas, right? And the tools that I like to use for that is, again, the Notepad or Note app on my iPhone, but also the Notepad in Ableton itself, right? I showed it in another video, I guess. It's a free tool from this Elephant guy, which has a great channel, by the way. And it's for free, the light version, and it's a Max for Life device, and it just can sketch out some notes, right? And you can save it in your session, so you have it ready for the next session. If you have ideas, just bang them out quickly in the Note app, and the next time I open up the session, I have already some to-dos that I can try out for the track. And this is actually one of the biggest and useful techniques that I use for this kind of unbreaking the writer's block, I guess. Yeah, the next technique actually sounds a little bit counterproductive, but for me it works, and I just can tell you my experience from my experience. Maybe for you it's different, but I found I have a sweet spot of writing music of around 30 to maybe 45 minutes per session, right? After that, I often find myself over listening a track or an idea, and then I add some new stuff. And when I add new stuff, I think, oh my gosh, this is the real shit. The classic example, right? You know this meme of this guy with the fire and thinking, wow, this is the club banger, the next big shit. And then the next day or just a few hours later, you listen back and it sounds actually like the biggest garbage ever. And this most often happens to me if I work too long in one session. So for me, 30 to 45 minutes works perfect, and I like to do it mostly early in the morning because then I have a fresh mind and fresh ears. The next thing that really works for me is changing up things. So I often found myself maxing out a tool. Maybe, for example, I was using a lot in the beginning of this channel's videos the Instant House tool, right? But on some level I found I maxed it out somehow and I got bored out of it, right? So what I did then was just adding a new tool, right? Also changing up gear, changing up environment. Maybe instead of working here, sometimes I work in the living room or somewhere else, whatever. Again, this just works for me, maybe not for you, but give it a try, maybe it works. And then the next technique, limiting. I limit myself by certain tools, but I just started doing this just the other week when I went away for 5 days, and you can see that video from last week. And yeah, this also works really well for me. Yeah, limiting by time and limiting to a certain set of gear. If really nothing pops up, it's maybe good to have 2 separate folders ready, one called sketch or ideas or whatever, and the other one with to finish. And this was actually a great tip from my friend Beksu, which I highly respect as a producer and a human. If you don't know him, check his Bandcamp profile out. He has amazing stuff out there. And yeah, I hope this techniques helps a little bit or sparks some inspiration. Let me know in the comments if you have some more techniques or hacks ready to fight against writer's block. I'm happy to hear it. And yeah, hope it helps. In the end, I think every artist in every field faces this problem from now and then. So I think in the end it's totally normal, right? And I believe just this knowledge alone can take away a lot of pressure, because honestly, I think no one, even the best producers out there, don't create only good stuff, right? And a good example is from Paolo Rocco. I once did a blog interview about him, and I asked him if he releases every track that he makes, and he said no, not at all. He actually releases only 50 to 20%, I guess. So yeah, I think in the end it's really part of the creative process and we need to push through it. And yeah, I hope some techniques in this video will help you with that. And I hope this helps and inspires. Hope to see you in another video. Thanks for watching. And as always, if you need some inspiration to start a track and maybe start with the kick, I have my soft but snappy Rominimal Ableton Live rack ready for you to download for free as a little gift. And yeah, hope to see you in another video. See you soon. Cheers.